Uganda has been steadily advancing its digital transformation agenda, driven by strategic policies, infrastructure development, and growing digital adoption across key sectors. The government launched the Digital Transformation Roadmap 2023-2028, aiming to achieve 90% broadband coverage, 90% household internet connectivity, and 90% citizen engagement with e-services by 2040. The government launched the Digital Transformation Roadmap 2023-2028, aiming to achieve 90% broadband coverage, 90% household internet connectivity, and 90% citizen engagement with e-services by 2040. However, Uganda's digital transformation faces several hurdles, including digital literacy gaps, especially in rural areas, limited citizens' ability to effectively engage with technology, infrastructure deficiencies, including limited broadband coverage and unreliable electricity.
Hubs and co-working spaces linked to broadband networks to enable collaborative and market access.
To tackle these challenges, KTA Advocates organizes an annual symposium, and this year marks the 8th edition, themed Digital Trade, AI, and the creative economy as drivers of digital transformation.
4. That, I feel, embodies what we have been doing here at the KTA Annual Symposium. We started about 8 years ago, and over the course of the last few years, it's been difficult in many respects, but it's such a breath of fresh air to sit here today with all our partners, all our sponsors, and all of you here, and those who are also attending online, sharing with us
complex questions. And here are the questions. How do we relate to AI-generated content that mimic real artists or spread misinformation? How do we safeguard intellectual property, data privacy, and personality rights in this digital era? How do we ensure our workforce is equipped with the digital skills to harness AI responsibly? And then, the growing cases of AI-generated music deepfakes, such as those replicating voices of well-known Ugandan artists, underline the urgency of updating our legal and ethical frameworks.
According to Kenneth Muhanji from the Uganda Law Society, has noted that the society needs to embrace radical approaches to drive real change, citing examples such as telecom companies leveraging innovative methods to provide loans which are transforming the financial landscape.
To want to see actual change, not only in the sectors that we are trying to advocate for, but being the custodians or arbiters, actually no, not even arbiters, the custodians of justice. It's our role when we're looking at the rule of law to make sure that we have a conducive environment for all of you to be able to practice your professions. Whenever we think about rule of law, we think about it from the perspective of governance. What has the judiciary done? What has the government done? But have you thought about the rule of law from the perspective of human rights, from the perspective of social justice?
Vincent Mangeni from the National Planning Authority, representing the Executive Director, indicated that the forthcoming National Development Plan 4 aims to implement a 10-fold strategy focusing on various sectors to accelerate Uganda's digital transformation. He emphasized that for Uganda must fully leverage digital technologies. However, he pointed out existing challenges such as limited access to markets and cyber threats to intellectual property.
The NDP4, the National Development Plan, the fourth, is the first of 3 5-year plans intended to deliver the 10-fold growth strategy leading up to Uganda Vision 2040. The NDP4 focuses on exploiting high-impact growth areas which will propel a double-digit growth over the next 5 years. The third is income tax exemption for businesses founded by Ugandan citizens with a capital not exceeding 500 million as of 1st of July for the first 3 years, then aligning Uganda's digital trade policies with Africa Continental Free Trade Area to enable cross-border market and protect digital transactions.
Atire Collins, an AI software engineer, noted that there is a general lack of AI literacy in Uganda, as many people rely solely on tools like ChatGPT without understanding the broader scope of artificial intelligence. He emphasized the need for more AI software engineers who can comprehend how these technologies can function and potential consequences of using certain tools.
Yeah, so they focus on the wrong things. So for instance, we're struggling with AI literacy, because like people are just using ChatGPT, but we could use AI for more, right? And AI literacy goes as far as like the deep technical details. So for instance, in school, when you're learning physics, they teach you the abstraction of, like, let's say a machine, right? So that you know how it works and you know how to approach it. A lot of you came driving cars, but you don't know what happens inside. But
AI, of course, is on the increase and the policies are being developed. It wouldn't make sense for countries to come up with AI policies if there were actually no risks. So CPESA, we approach it from that angle that, well, we acknowledge quite a number of risks emerge, and even in these policies that are undergoing the AI strategies, we also fully acknowledge that the different risks that exist require that approach where different players, where collaborations and partnerships like these ones, where the state has to work with civil society.
According to Sifan Damin from the European Union delegation in Uganda, over 40 billion Uganda shillings has been invested in the country under the Support to Business and Economic Development program in Uganda to boost trade. He further noted that additional 100 billion Uganda shillings has been allocated to support digital markets, e-governance, and the strengthening of cybersecurity, among other initiatives, emphasizing that e-commerce plays a vital role in today's economy.
Just to keep my remarks short, but I'll focus on what we have a dedicated pillar on e-commerce, and this is why we are here today. Through the e-commerce support, we are partnering with the private sector, such as payment providers, to address specific barriers faced by MSMEs here during their e-commerce journey. We're also developing a tailored e-commerce training program where we're working with business support organizations to implement capacity building for enterprises to enhance their access to markets domestically, regionally, and internationally through online channels.
Naomi Namsoke and Serena Naguja for NSTV.